Hey, what's up? My name's Justin and this is 65 Drums. Today I want to do a really quick review of the Drumtec Real Feel line of mesh heads. So this is it right here. Recently I got an email from Drumtec saying, hey, can we send you a bunch of different mesh heads and different products we offer so you can make reviews of them? And I was like, yes, that would be amazing, because Drumtec is in Germany. You kind of have to know what you want to buy from them. You can't just go to a store if you live in the United States. The Real Feel line is interesting because I'm comparing it mostly to a different kind of mesh head that I already own from them. So a while ago, I actually bought a full set of their Pro Series mesh heads from someone who actually watches 65 Drums. And you know, if you've seen this review, I'll link it down in the description below. This is my absolute favorite kind of mesh head from any company ever. And the reason for that is because the amount of rebound from this guy is incredibly realistic. No other mesh head comes close to the way this one feels. The only downside is that it's really, really loud. It's like the Zildjian L80 of mesh drum heads. It's like not as loud as an acoustic drum head, but it's not anywhere near the same volume level as like a roll-on mesh head. So that's the one major downside of these mesh heads. Now, Drumtec also sent me one of these mesh heads. So actually a full set of the Design Series mesh heads. So these guys, it's a regular 2-ply mesh head. It's kind of like a competitor to the roll-on power ply, the regular roll-on mesh heads. It actually kind of feels similar to them. I'll break down the prices later on in the video. But what I'm trying to say here is that this is a combination of the 2-ply mesh heads and the Pro line. It has the features of low bounce, low rebound from the Pro line, but it's also quiet. So it has like the best of both worlds. So it's a very good middle of the road, all around solid mesh drum head. I love it because you can't see through it. A lot of times with third-party companies, they'll create mesh heads where you can see right through it, and you can see the drum trigger and the foam and the piezo and all that ugly stuff inside of the drum head. I do realize some people love being able to see the internals of their stuff, but when you're using like an acoustic drum set like the one I have behind me that you've converted into an electronic set, you want it to look as natural as you possibly can. Due to either their processing of printing it, or maybe just the way the mesh head, the materials here, the logo isn't quite as crisp as I see on most like roll-on mesh heads. That's really the only nitpicky thing I can say about these mesh heads. Moving on to the way this actually feels, it feels like you have a roll-on mesh head and you added a third extra layer. This does a couple of things. Number one, you hear almost like a rattling sound from that third middle layer. But it also dampens it quite a bit. We all know that mesh heads have a bad reputation of being trampolines, or also tennis rackets. That's people's two favorite words to describe electronic drums. The amount of rebound that you're getting from this is lower than most other 2-ply and 1-ply mesh heads out there. And it's even lower than some 3-ply mesh heads. So now I'm just gonna give you some playing examples of what it sounds like acoustically, and also what it's like to trigger with. If you want a really in-depth comparison of rebound of different kinds of mesh heads, V-Drum Tips did a really great video breaking down exactly how much rebound the Drumtec Real Feel head gets versus other different kinds of mesh heads on the market, which I highly recommend. I'll link that video down in the description below. Okay, so jumping over to the Drumtec website, if you buy a regular standard set of mesh heads for the Drumtec Real Feel line, it's going to cost you about $230. Now, the tricky thing about this is that if you live in Germany, that's the actual price, including free shipping. But if you live in like the United States or Canada, you're going to have to pay for shipping on top of that, but you don't have to pay for the German taxes that are included in that price. If you buy a full set of their 2-ply line, which is like a step down from the Real Feel line, it costs about $174. For their Pro line, it's actually the exact same price. And then their basic line, which is basically like their Remo Silent Stroke line or their Pearl Mufflehead line, it's only like $11 for a 14-inch mesh head. So it's incredibly cheap if you don't have like a really large budget. All right, so if you can't tell, I really like these mesh heads. And the main reason for that is that you can't see through it, and it's low bounce, and it's got low volume. Those are three major things that a lot of companies try to do when they're making a mesh head, but most of the time they never quite reach it. I've got a lot of different kinds of mesh heads in this basement, and I've played a lot of different kinds of electronic drum sets over the years. If you're looking for high-end mesh heads, yes, that's actually a thing. This is on a very short list of other mesh heads that I would definitely take a look at. Okay, so that's the review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any thoughts on today's video, or if you actually own a set of these and want to leave your own mini review, leave that all down in the comments below. Have an amazing day, everybody, and I'll see you in a few.